Okay guys, welcome to the final video of Period 1. Key Concept 1.3, Roman numeral number 3. Let's read it. Culture played a significant role in unifying states through laws, language, literature, religion, myths, and monumental art. Early civilization developed monumental architecture and urban planning. Examples include ziggurats, pyramids, and defensive walls. Systems of record-keeping arose independently in all early civilizations, and writing and record-keeping subsequently spread. Illustrative examples include cuneiform and hieroglyphics. States developed legal codes that reflected existing hierarchies and facilitated the rule of governments over people. Examples include the Code of Hammurabi and the Code of Urnunu. New religious beliefs that developed in this period, including the Vedic religion, Hebrew monotheism, and Zoroastrianism, continued to have strong influences in later periods. Interregional cultural and technological exchanges grew as a result of expanding trade networks and large-scale population movements, such as the Indo-European and Bantu migrations. Examples include trade between Mesopotamia and Egypt, trade between Egypt and Nubia, trade between Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley, and trade between China and Southwest Asia. F. Social hierarchies, including patriarchy, intensified as states expanded and cities multiplied. Okay, let's get into it. The two main civilizations that we're going to be talking about are Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt. We probably will have some Indus River Valley civilization, but mostly all of these examples will come from Mesopotamia and Egypt. So, the Sumerian gods of Mesopotamia embodied forces of nature. When the Semitic people became dominant, they equated their deities with those of the Sumerians. According to the book, the myths of the Sumerian gods were transferred to the Semitic counterparts. Many of the same rituals continued to be practiced. People imagined the gods as anthropomorphic, like humans in form and conduct. They thought the gods had bodies and senses, sought nourishment from sacrifice, enjoyed the worship of obedience and humanity, and were driven by lust, love, hate, anger, and envy. All in all, bearing very human characteristics. Let me write that down. Sumerian gods bore human characteristics. Sumerian, let me put that in white. Sumerian, let me put that in white. Sumerian gods bore human characteristics. They were like humans. The religion was public and it was state organized. Thus, there were many temples and facilities for the purpose of praying to these gods. The most visible of these was the ziggurat. It was a multi-story, mud brick, pyramid-shaped tower approached by ramps and stairs. According to the book, scholars are not certain of the ziggurat's function and symbolic meaning. So they built Ziggurats. Ziggurats. They were pyramid-shaped towers. Pyramid-shaped towers. Let me find a helpful picture. Okay, right here. Ziggurats. This is what a ziggurat looked like. As we learned in previous videos, the kings of Egypt, also known as pharaohs, claimed that they were descendants from God, said that they were divine. So, after their death, they had to pass on their spirits to an afterlife, and this could only be achieved through mummification and the sending of the soul to the afterlife in the proper manner. And this required the pharaohs to be stored, essentially, in pyramids. In pyramids. So, let me write that down. It was essential for the pharaohs, to, I spelled that wrong, now I'm back, I spelled it right, pharaohs, it was essential for the pharaoh to be stored and preserved. They call that mummification, so that the pharaoh can proceed to the afterlife. And we all know what pyramids look like. I don't think we need a visual there. They had to proceed to the afterlife. Now, moving on. The Mesopotamians had a form of writing which first originated around 3,300 BCE is when they found the earliest inscribed tablets. However, the system known as cuneiform required years of training and practice. Multiple hundreds of signs were used at any one time. It was very, very hard to understand. Old cuneiform was mostly for economic documents. Cuneiform was the Mesopotamian writing system. We write that in white. Writing system. So originally they were economic, but it came to have multiple uses. Written documents with the seal became proof of legal actions. It was also used to describe literature. Some literature. It was also used to expand on religious topics and political topics. Here are some examples of cuneiform. Now the Egyptians had their own form of writing too. It was called hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics. And people call it the hallmark of the administrative class. Hieroglyphics have pictures that stand for words. And of course we can understand hieroglyphics today because of the Rosetta Stone. Hieroglyphics were often written on papyrus, which was a type of paper. Papyrus, my bad. A type of paper. I know that's a different color, but it's a type of paper. Here are some examples of papyrus. Papyrus were used for many different purposes, including writing hieroglyphics. Additionally, Mesopotamia developed the Code of Hammurabi, which was created by Hammurabi of Babylonia. It detailed very, very, very strict punishments for certain infractions. It also let historians know that agriculture played a huge role in the Mesopotamian society because a lot of the punishments were related to negligence of agricultural duty. The Code of Hammurabi also outlined different punishments for different classes of people. So if a person of a higher class committed the same crime as a person of a lower class, the person of a lower class would be judged more harshly. In this time, Hebrew monotheism develops. Zoroastrianism develops in Mesopotamia and surrounding regions. In Egypt, they keep their pantheon of gods, including Ra, who is the sun god. Here are some images of Ra, the sun god. The Vedic religion also develops in India, and the Vedic religion turns into what will be known as Hinduism. And Hinduism still plays a huge role in society to this day. Now on another note, trade between Egypt, Nubia, Mesopotamia, Egypt, Mesopotamia, Indus Valley, China, and Southwest Asia all developed. Here is a map of early Indo-European and Bantu migrations. These caused so much trade to happen between cultural groups that would not have interacted otherwise. Pastoralism and migration are the two greatest causes of cultures coming together and interacting with each other. And lastly, patriarchy develops. Patriarchy is unfortunately developed at every turn of society. Women cannot play very important roles in government in either Mesopotamia or Egypt, although some contend that there have been female Egyptian pharaohs. They had to pretend to be male to be pharaoh, and some of Egypt disregarded their pharaohship. And in Mesopotamia, women could not hold high office. They could not become ultimate ruler. They were limited. Most women were seen as inferior. In fact, in the Code of Hammurabi, women are seen as a lower class than men. And thus, patriarchy develops. And as an important rule, the more developed a society gets, the more patriarchal it becomes. Well, thanks for watching our video. That's all we have for now. See you next time.